পুরানো সেই দিনের কথা ভুলবে কে রে, হায় ও সেই চোখের দেখা প্রাণের কথা।
In the heart of Kolkata stands Jorasanko Thakurbari, where a boy once dreamt beyond the confines of home, beyond the familiar walls. Rabindranath Tagore's world began here, shaped by letters, words, and visions of distant lands. For him, communication was never just an exchange of words, it was an exchange of souls.
পাথুরিয়া ঘাটা থেকে ভাইয়ের সংসার থেকে বেরিয়ে এসে নীলমণি ঠাকুর 1784-এ এই বাড়ি তৈরি করেন প্রথম। তারপরে আস্তে আস্তে তার দুই ছেলে এরকম করতে করতে পরে দ্বারকানাথ যখন আসেন তখন দ্বারকানাথ এই প্রথম হচ্ছিল রামভবন, অর্থাৎ এখন যেটা অন্দরমহল এই ভেতর দিকটা, সেইটা ছিল প্রথম 1784। এই যেখানটা আপনারা এখানে প্রসূতি গৃহ, তারপরে এইসব জায়গাগুলো, এগুলো কিন্তু প্রথম দিকে 1784-এর। পরবর্তীকালে এই যে ঠাকুর দালান, এই ঠাকুর দালানে আগে দুর্গাপুজো হতো ওরা যখন হিন্দু ছিলেন। তারপরে দেবেন্দ্রনাথ ঠাকুর যখন ব্রাহ্মধর্মে দীক্ষিত হলেন তখন থেকে পুজো বন্ধ হয়ে গেল। এছাড়া এখানে ওনাদের রবীন্দ্রনাথের লেখান বিভিন্ন নাটক অনুষ্ঠান সেগুলো কিন্তু সব এই ঠাকুরদালানেই হতো। বাল্মীকি প্রতিভার প্রথম অভিনয় এই ঠাকুরদালানেই হয়েছিল। উনি মারা যান 1941-এ। 1940-এর শেষের দিকেই উনি যখন অসুস্থ হয়ে পড়লেন, শান্তিনিকেতনে থেকে শেষবার ওনাকে ট্রেনে করে নিয়ে আসা হয় এখানে চিকিৎসার জন্য। তখন উনি জোড়াসাঁকো বাড়ির এখন যেটা প্রয়াণকক্ষ সেই ঘরে উনি এসে উঠেছিলেন। কাজে এখানে বহু স্মৃতি এবং এই পরিবারের বহু ওঠা পড়া সব কিছুর সঙ্গেই এই বাড়ি এবং এই ঠাকুরদালান জড়িত।
A few streets away, at Orchona Post Office, even today, letters and memories quietly flow. The Orchona Post Office, located in the Jorasanko area of North Kolkata, is a unique and historic sub-post office named after the Bengali literary magazine Orchona, which was started in 1904 and named by Rabindranath Tagore himself. Originally established in 1906, to handle the magazine's extensive dispatches, it later opened to public postal services.
রবীন্দ্রনাথ যে আমার কাছে কি সেটা বলা খুব কঠিন। খুব ছোট্ট করে বলতে গেলে রবীন্দ্রনাথ আমার খুব প্রিয় একজন বন্ধু, যে আমার সুখে দুঃখে সব সময় আমার পাশে আছেন। আমি একদম একা থাকি, কেমন যেন মনে হয় রবীন্দ্রনাথের সাপোর্ট আমি সব সময় পাই, তার গানের মাধ্যমে, তার কবিতার মাধ্যমে, তার নাটকের মাধ্যমে। আর রবীন্দ্রনাথ আমায় অনেক কিছু দিয়েছেন, আমার সারা বিশ্ব ভ্রমণ করিয়েছেন, তার গান গাইতে গেছি এবং রোজ আমাকে খাওয়াচ্ছেন দাওয়াচ্ছেন, সবই রবীন্দ্রনাথ। তো সুতরাং তাকে আর বন্ধু ছাড়া আমি কি বলি বলুন তো, তাকে আমার সশ্রদ্ধ প্রণাম।
But Kolkata could not contain him. Tagore's spirit sought open skies and open minds. When Rabindranath Tagore arrived in Birbhum, West Bengal, he brought with him a vision, a dream shaped by the open skies and quiet beauty of the land of his father, Rabindranath Tagore, had once cherished. In 1901, he founded Shanti Nikatan, not just a school, but a sanctuary where education would grow hand in hand with nature. Here, learning would rise above walls of religion and culture, nurturing free minds under the open sky. It was a place where the soul could find its true home.
Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore and Indian writers of all forms of literature, predominantly writer in Bengali languages mostly, though several of his poems and plays have been translated into English. Originally written in Bengali in 1912, Daghar was translated into English as The Post Office and performed in 1913 by the Abbey Theatre Company in Dublin, Ireland and London, England. The play was then published in English in 1914. To this day, The Post Office is the most renowned and beloved of Tagore's dramatic work, and it is still regularly produced in the United States and abroad. Rabindranath was a prolific writer, including letters as a literary creation, and formed a rich literature through his letter writing. Written from a variety of locations as he traveled on work or holiday, with family or more often alone, the letters contained in his book are intensely visual insight into a landscape and countryside that contains a narrative of discovery and belonging. In letter after letter, Tagore speaks of how whenever he lands in the rural environment of his estate from the industrially rushed Calcutta, he senses centrifugalism of humankind. It means he has given importance the nature linking with the man or individual. There is less of man and more of earth here. He wrote in a letter and adds, whenever he is in the place, I am in the place, I cease to see man as an independent entity. For example, Chinnapatra Boli, it reveals the everyday Rabindranath. Rabindranath Tagore has been featured on postage stamp issued by the Indian Postal Department. Specifically, there are stamps commemorating his life and work and his play, The Post Office. Specific example of Tagore related stamps: 1961 commemorative stamp. The stamp was issued on the 150th anniversary of Rabindranath Tagore's birth. In 2008 miniature sheet, this sheet features Tagore's play The Post Office, that is Daghar. 2011 miniature sheet, this sheet commemorates the 150th anniversary of Rabindranath Tagore's birth. This is how the Tagore's life and ideology is linked with the Post Office, and particularly the Post Office Daghar.
Amidst our journey, we encountered Sri Deepesh Roy Chaudhuri, a living testament to the rich history of this land and to the enduring spirit of Tagore. Through his memories and presence, the legacy of the soil and its poet seemed to come alive before our eyes.
আমার নাম হচ্ছে দীপেশ রায় চৌধুরী। এই নামটাও রবি ঠাকুর দিয়েছেন। দীপেশ তোমার দীপ্তি মাঝে উজ্জ্বল হয়ে রও, আধেক প্রভা আধেক শোভা সত্য স্বরূপ হও। এটা রবি ঠাকুর দেওয়ার নাম। আমার বাবাকে ওনার নানাভাবে ডাকতেন, কিন্তু বাবার নাম হচ্ছে সুধাকান্ত রায়চৌধুরী। তিনি লখনৌর এতে উনাও বলে জায়গাতে জন্মগ্রহণ করেছিলেন। সেখান থেকে শান্তিনিকেতনে পড়াশোনা করতে এসেছিলেন। এটা আমার পক্ষে গর্বের বিষয় এই কারণে যে আমি স্বচক্ষে রবি ঠাকুরকে দেখেছি, রবি ঠাকুরের কবিতা রবি ঠাকুরকেই পাঠ করে শুনিয়েছি। রবি ঠাকুর খুশি হয়েছেন, আমার নামকরণ করেছেন, এমনকি এই বাড়ি সে বাড়ির নামকরণ করেছেন। রবি ঠাকুরকে আমি খুব সামনাসামনি পেয়েছি, তখন আমার 11 বছর বয়স। এই কারণে বলছি যে ঠাকুর বাড়ির সঙ্গে আমার বিশেষ যোগাযোগ ছিল এই কারণে যে আমার পিতৃদেব সুধাকান্ত রায়চৌধুরী পরবর্তীকালে রবি ঠাকুরের একান্ত সচিব হিসেবে শান্তিনিকেতনে যোগ দিয়েছিলেন। বাবাকে উনি খুব স্নেহ করতেন এবং বাবার ন্যায় বিচারগুলোকে যুক্তি দিয়ে উনি মানতেন যে হ্যাঁ এই ছেলেটার মধ্যে, যার জন্যে রবি ঠাকুর আমাদের বাড়ির প্রতি একটা ওনার দুর্বলতা ছিল। এখন যেখানে ডাকঘর, সেখানে একটা মাটির বাড়ি ছিল, সেখানে ডাক দিতেন। এবং আপনার শুনে অবাক হবেন, এখানকার ছাত্রছাত্রী কর্মীরাই ডাক বিলি করতে বাড়ি বাড়ি তখন দেখেছি। এখন যেখানে পাকা বাড়ি হয়েছে সেই পেছনেই একটা মাটির বাড়ি হয়েছিল, ডাকঘর। এখন ভাবি যে সেই রবি ঠাকুর নেই, কিন্তু সেসব বাড়ি টাড়িগুলো সবই আছে।
Tagore had a unique perspective on nationalism that was not limited to India but had global appeal. His novel, Ghore Baire, is a testament to his ideology of patriotism and love for his motherland.
Ah yes, Ghore Baire, that eternal classic that Rabindranath wrote about 100 years ago. Ghore Baire was set just after Bengal's first partition in 1905, and that rumble is something that we can still feel in the skies that overhang our nation today. Partition has never gone away from us. It teases us all the time. We can still feel the memories of that time. And Tagore's words and ideas were never just stories. They spoke of a deep longing, a wish for something more than just simple everyday life. You can see it even now in our art, in our struggles, in our simple letter, a simple letter that travels over sands, over seas, over rivers, travels across miles and over mountains. The post office is not just about delivering mail. No. It carries our dreams, our memories, our longings, our aspirations, our sorrows, our woes, our hopes, and our fights. I remember the old Tagore stamps that we had. They were colorful and very bright. The drawings from Daghor, his beautiful paintings, all small pieces of our hearts moving across the country. In letters stamped beautifully with lovely postage stamps, much like the one that you're going to be seeing today. On Rabindra Jayanti Day, we celebrate that spirit, that longing for our home and the world beyond. Ghore Baire. For everyone, let's hope there is peace and love and happiness for us all. Jai Hind.
Later, in the quiet hills of Mongpo, Tagore found another home, a resting place for his wandering heart. Here too, letters found him, carrying affection, news, and at times solitude. It was in Mongpo's gentle silence that some of his final words were written, still tethered to the distant yet ever close thread of communication.
Namaskar, this is Shomujit.
Namaskar, this is Shovendu. As musicians, we have a very different imagery of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. We have started our careers learning Indian classical music, but when we got introduced to this set of compositions from Gurudev, we saw that he has sketched a complete different canvas where he expresses the blue sky in his own tunes, where he expresses the Indian monsoons in his own tunes, without the obligation of supporting the grammatical structure of the ragas, yet respecting them. So this new kind of sound portrait was very interesting for us as musicians to perform them and also to present them to musicians abroad.
Tagore is someone who has such a vast imagery throughout the cultural fabric of our country that it is quite difficult for any thinker to just say a few lines about his influence. But a small little thing that I would like to share is, as children, we were quite privileged that all our winter vacations, our parents would take us to vacations. And in those days, it used to be through the historic Howrah station. And every time I visited Howrah station, I saw a big clock, because that clock was not only showing time to the city, but also a point where all our relatives, friends would come and meet, because those were not the days of mobile phones. Later on, I realized personally that probably Tagore is that huge clock underneath, I think the tradition, the culture, the language, music of Bengal comes and meet. So Tagore is someone where all these streams of expression, they come and meet, and he is solely responsible for showing Bengalis or giving Bengalis the language of expression through his poems, through his music. And what a coincidence that even today, in the age of AI, we are recreating his compositions because it's his birthday, around the corner, and we are trying to create something that he has created long back, and it is almost like celebrating him. And probably we will celebrate him always.
Interestingly, we have worked with many musicians who didn't know about Rabindranath and his music. And when we played his songs, his compositions to them, they were complete strangers. They didn't understand the language of Bengali or the language or the passion of Tagore. But they could make out this imagery magically, because Rabindranath has this strange coming together of literature, of melodies, of expressions which are very strong, and it's not Rag Shongit, but what we should call it Bhab Shongit. Bhab Shongit, the language of expression of music, and that is what he had built over these years and made India have a complete different genre of music, a different genre of thinking.
So we are so lucky to have been born in this part of the world where Gurudev was born, and we speak a language that Gurudev used to write in, he used to think in. So we celebrate him, we celebrate his works, we celebrate his ideology, and we are very happy to be a part some or the other way where he is involved.
From Jorasanko to Shanti Nikatan to Mongpo, Rabindranath Tagore's life was a history stitched together by dreams carried in letters. And today, the Department of Posts continues that journey, honoring a poet who taught us that even the simplest envelope might carry the weight of a soul longing for home and the world beyond. Kobi Guru, we salute you. Tumi robe, nirobe, hridoye momo.
গরজে মেঘ ঘন বর্ষা কুলে একা বসে আছি নাহি ভরসা রাশি রাশি ভাড়া ভাড়া ধান কাটা হলো সারা ভরা নদী ক্ষুরধারা খর বর্ষা কাটিতে কাটিতে ধান এলো বর্ষা